Well, good evening, everybody. Mike Steele here with BBQ Champs Academy Live. We got a great show lined up for you tonight with Mr. Steve Dotson with DQ'd Barbecue. Guy's been on absolute fire, and we felt like it was time to reach out to him after watching what he's done for these last 4 or 5 months, especially. And so we are so looking forward to talking to Steve tonight, and I hope everybody enjoys our show as we always do. Please come in, let us know that you're here. We'll certainly give everybody a big shout out. Merv, thank you for being here. Gordon, as always, we can always count on you being here week in and week out as well. Kent, thank you for showing up tonight. We do appreciate it. And Miss Caitlin, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you being here. Erica, congratulations. Y'all had an absolutely outstanding weekend. I really wanted to get over to Burke Burnett and come cook that competition with you guys, but I'm kind of glad I stayed home because y'all would have handed it to me as well. So there was some great cooks there, and y'all showed up and showed out and had an amazing, amazing cook. So congratulations. I don't know if it was you cooking or oh my goodness gracious, drew a blank. James, goodness gracious, I don't know who cooked. Probably you, but all I know is y'all had a great weekend, and congratulations to y'all. I'm going to have to be reaching out to y'all. Y'all keep on doing what y'all are doing and get y'all back on the show. Maybe I need to get a husband and a wife to have y'all on together where you can kind of keep him tame a little bit. So anyway, huge congratulations to y'all. That was a stack field, and y'all did absolutely amazing. Justin, thank you for being here. John, appreciate you being here as well. Dustin, thank you for coming. And Merv, yeah, I saw you had first place chicken this weekend. 4 points from perfect score. That's awesome, man. Good job. Keep it up. Darren, thank you for being here as well. Let's see who else. Yeah, we're still on Cloud. Yeah, you're going to be Cloud 9 a long time, man. You got big belt buckles and a lot of money to show for it. So awesome job. Brenda, thank you for being here as well. Emmeline, appreciate you being here also. Man, we got a lot of folks already. 26 folks on here. Dan, thank you for being here. And I think we're going to have a really, really good show. Steve's just a great guy. Had him on, goodness gracious, I don't know, a little over a year ago. And we got a chance to sit down and be able to talk to him. Before I go any further, there is one thing that is on my mind, and I'm sure probably a lot of other folks with the shooting that's going on that went down today in Uvalde, Texas. You know, it just breaks my heart to see stuff like this happening, especially. It's never good, but man, when we're dealing with, 7, 8, 9-year-old children and just innocent children, and somebody go in and shoot up a school like that, it just breaks my heart. I'm certainly saddened to see that kind of news. Certainly ask everybody to keep them, the families there, and everybody in our thoughts and prayers, because that's just a tough time for a small community like that. And I hope they can. I hope they can get through that. Just think, 2 days and they would have been out of school, and this wouldn't have happened. So, it's hard to see, and it seems we're getting a lot of this going on throughout our country, and I don't know what's going on. But anyway, prayers to all those in Uvalde, absolutely. So I did want to at least make note of that, and let's certainly keep all those in our thoughts and in our prayers. So. Anyway, let us know once again. Justin, thank you for being here. And Kent, we appreciate you. Toby, thank you for being here as well. And I think we're going to have a really, really good show tonight. I've been looking forward to talking to Steve. I was wanting to try to get him on here a couple weeks ago. Then we had Mark Lambert, had a first place in shoulder, so I felt like I had to get him in here. So I'm chasing everybody that, we've been following a lot and having great success. And I may have to start teaming up and getting 4 or 5 on here at one time, because by the time I get to them, it's already a couple weeks past. So I may have to start doing that in the future as well. So anyway, let's see who else we got on here. Travis, thank you, man, for being on here tonight. Sean, thank you for being here. Let's see who else we got. Mr. Paul, appreciate you being here, Paul. And yeah, it is a sad, sad day in Texas. There is no doubt. Steve, thank you for showing up with us tonight. I hope we can have a great show for you as well. Let's see what we got here, Merv. Yeah, we've got to get people believing. Life is precious and everyone is important. Yep, that's 100% correct, man. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, let's see, Dennis. Who is this? Denny. Denny, thank you for being here tonight, man. Prayers to everyone involved in Texas. Absolutely, man. Can't miss the show. Can't miss the Cookout Coach and DQ'd Barbecue. I think we're going to have a good show once again. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So I don't want to keep everybody too long. Looks like we've already got about 30 folks in here. Folks are still pouring in, which is a good thing. Mike, thank you all the way from Searcy, Arkansas. Appreciate you being here, Jeremy. Thank you. Peter, appreciate you being here as well. I mean, I thought everybody was here. We got folks still showing up. So we'll give everybody just a few more minutes. While we're waiting on a few folks, I'll kind of take care of some housework, as I always do. I always like to give a shout out to our partners, and I kind of like doing this at the beginning of the show as we still have people coming in. We kind of give everybody a chance to kind of come in, get settled in before we bring in our guests. I couldn't do what I do without all of our awesome partners. Mr. Danny at Be Extreme Barbecue. Dude is absolutely awesome. He'll do anything for you. Got some great rubs. Be sure to check him out. Also, our good friends at Prairie Fresh, man, we have been crushing ribs ever since we switched over to those. Absolutely love them. If you're looking for a Prairie Fresh product, you can get it at Raider Red Meats over in Lubbock, Texas. They can ship them right to you, so we certainly appreciate them. Mr. Brian Crawford at Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop. He's also got his own rubs, Crawford's Barbecue Products. We appreciate him and all the rubs that he carries to get out to all the people that purchase our class. Mr. Wild Bill, we had him on here about a month and a half ago with Texas Select Season. He's got some amazing rubs. Manufacturers and co-packs all his rubs in-house, so the quality control is unbelievable. My good buddy David with Gunnar Wellheim Knives. Absolutely love those knives. They are wicked sharp. Holding edge is good or better than probably some of my $200 knives. If you're looking for a really inexpensive knife that holds an incredible edge, check out their Lightning Pro Cut series. I use two knives. I use their 6-inch boning knife and an 8-inch chef knife. I do all my trimming of my brisket and ribs with an 8-inch chef knife. That thing is so sharp. I have no problem getting through anything, and man, I can work magic with that knife on a brisket. Also, Mr. Dustin Stanley at the Barbecue Store. So many throughout Texas use him. He ships all over the United States. Fast shipping, great products as well, and we appreciate him. My good buddy, Mr. John Lindsay at All Queued Up. And last but not least, Daigle's Barbecue Sauces and Glazes. They got some great products. She's down in South Louisiana in Lafayette. And if you've never tried their products, I highly, highly recommend give them a try. So we appreciate all their help. Glad we took a few minutes because now we're up to 40 people. We was at 34, so I always like to kind of fill that little void in there. Give few more folks here. Mr. James, appreciate it. Buddy, I almost just lost your name. I kept wanting to say Jim. Had you on just a second ago. Sorry about that, James. Anyway, congratulations. As I was telling Erica, awesome job this weekend. I'm sure y'all going to be on Cloud 9 for quite some time. Oh, let's see here for the lesson of the week. Yep, it's going to be a good one. Let's see. Lee, thank you for being here. And we got Salt. Thank you for being here today. And yes, sir, prayers out to everybody in Uvalde, no question about it. So, Tracy, thank you for being here. Looking forward to hearing from Cookout Coach and DQ'd Barbecue. Well, I think it's about that time. Let's see, we got one other question. Please ask Steve if he still has his Wonder Woman ball cap. Well, that's a perfect time to lead into this. Hey, Steve, Kent wants to know, do you have your Wonder Woman ball cap?
So I do still have the hat he's talking about. It was not a Wonder Woman hat, though.
It's not a Wonder Woman hat. All right. Well, thank you for being here. If you want to know who this man is, this is him right here, Mr. Steve Dotson with DQ'd Barbecue. Man, thank you for being on our show. It was kind of a last-minute deal. I was trying to work in Matt Overson and Eric Hodson from having a big second-place call in the Memphis in May and Hog, and we just couldn't get that. And Steve, I was wanting to get him, and I saw what he had done this weekend, and I was like, oh, man, what do I do? You know, I've already done talked to Matt, and he couldn't come through, and Steve said, I'm in the wings if you need me, brother. And I was like, man, thank you. Saved the day. So, and it worked out good, too, man. You coming off another huge grand champion this weekend. I want to flash this up because this is a pretty impressive record. Now, Steve is coming out of the Backyard Barbecue division. We're going to hear a little bit about that, but so far, since he's went pro, which was at the very end of last year, and he cooked a doubleheader last year, and then he rolled off 5 competitions this year, 2 grand champions, a 3rd place, and that 3rd place was right behind Lee Hickle at your 2nd ever pro division, and 4 first-place briskets. I know 2 of them are in the 180s out of 7 competitions, brother. Man, Congratulations. Do you just wake up sometimes and pinch yourself?
Oh my goodness. I tell you what, I tell people all the time, it's, I really try not to say, it must be luck or whatever, because it starts to sound disingenuous after a certain point. But I tell you what, it feels like I don't deserve it. I tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I think it all takes a little bit of luck, but I will tell you this. It takes some skill. It takes good recipes. It takes good cooking. It takes being able to manage a fire and controlling your fire and controlling your cook. I firmly believe it does take that. And that's not luck. That's skill, that's practice. We all know who you are, the cookout coach. And if you want to know who this guy is on YouTube, he does have a YouTube channel. And it is it Cookout Coach or The Cookout Coach? It's Cookout Coach.
Just Cookout Coach, yep.
Cookout Coach. So if you haven't ever followed Steve, I know a long time ago, he used to do a lot of videos. Are you still doing a lot of YouTube stuff or not?
Oh, yeah. We've still got, at a minimum, that 2 video a month pace. On a good month, we're getting into the months where the hours are a little longer. Right. I can sometimes cook out 3, but you can always count on 2.
There you go. So if you want to follow him, go check him out. It's a Cookout Coach on YouTube. He always has some great content. Well, man, tell us a little bit. We had you on a long time ago, probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we know that you have done very, very well taking Corey's classes. So it started back in December of 2019.
Yep.
You was wanting to get some help in the backyard division. You had struggled for a couple years, it seemed like, if I recall, and you took Corey's class. And I want you to just kind of pick it up. That was in 2019. Where had you done? How had you been doing prior to that, and where it ran from there?
Right. So basically, I started competing in 2018 in the backyard division. I'd just done 2 comps there, sort of dipped my toes in it, but knew I wanted to do a lot more. So 2019, we did, it was less than 10, but it was more than we had done. And we ended up with 1 GC, but really I just couldn't. Backyard KCBS, you cook chicken and ribs, and I just couldn't get ribs down. Like, chicken was holding enough that, like I said, we sort of limped into 1 GC and 1 RGC. But, man, especially in the backyard, if you can't handle both categories, you're just not going to run it.
Right.
So that's when I started to actually first heard your ads on Kevin Sandridge's Barbecue Beat podcast. Okay. I love podcasts.
Yeah.
And Kevin does a great one. Oh, so yeah. That's when, it was the off season. I was at work late, I think. I was like, we're going to take a look at these and see what we got. So we ended up with Corey's classes. At the time, I was focused on getting my chicken better and getting my ribs better, especially those ribs. I'd been running into a wall, couldn't get them right. So enter 2020, COVID happens, and I'm working from home, and I just decided, okay, well, if we're going to work from home, we're going to cook at least twice a week. Wow, because I worked in the garage just to sort of get away from my kids while I was trying to do regular work.
Right.
And had the cooker right behind me, so I just set it off, go to work, and monitor it, and just put in the time practicing. 2020 was just, man, that was a good year for us. We ended up cooking 7 contests in the regular season because it was a short year.
Right.
We ended up with goodness, was it 3 or 4 grand champions that year? I think it was 4 grand champion, maybe three grand champions and 2 or 3 reserves. We ended up in the top 2 or 3, like every contest except for 1. I think it was just a banner year. Right. 2021, we had another grand championship, another reserve, I think, in there. 2 grand champions, actually. Sorry, it feels like forever ago because in October of 2021, my son was born. So I didn't hit it quite as hard that year as we had in the previous year. But right after he was born, I'd made the decision. That was going to be my last year in backyard. It was time to move up to pro. And we were expecting my son to come out with a little bit more issue than he did. And luckily for us, he came out way healthier than we expected. And my buddy organizes a contest in October called Barbeque, and it's a double. It's a great contest. And he needed another pro team. I said, well, while I hadn't cooked Corey's brisket, I'd watched all of Corey's videos a bunch of times. That's one thing I pride myself on, being a pretty diligent student of the game.
Right.
So, we ordered up everything, and like you alluded to, we went there, and it was a smaller comp, but there were teams that just came back from the Jack the previous week. So it was was not a light field. I was just hoping to get my name called once, and you know that first comp, we ended up with a 4th place chicken call. We won ribs, and we got like an 8th place brisket call, and ended up 6th overall. So I was just over the moon with day 1. I didn't even care if we cooked day 2.
So that was your first pro.
Very
day
first
1
pro
debut, 3 walks out of a possible 4, including a first place rib.
Just,
wow. And I know Lee Hickle was at that competition.
Yes,
he
sir.
was telling me about it. Wow.
Yes, sir.
So then you go into day 2.
Yeah, so day 2, like I said, I was just thrilled with the previous day, so there was no pressure.
Right.
But would go to cooking, and I just tried to slow down a little bit, pay a little bit more attention to things. So we ended up with calling chicken, calling ribs, calling pork, which we missed the day before, and then out of nowhere we ended up winning brisket. Beat Lee Hickle.
Beat Lee Hickle. Wow, that's tough to do. Man.
Ended up 3rd overall, and it was
third overall. Oh
couldn't
my
believe
gosh. It. Wow, that is so what was the turning point? I mean, you said you went into 2020, you only had 1 GC, 1 RGC prior to that, and then you go into 2020, you take Corey's classes, you come out of it, you got a lot of time to watch them. 3 or 4 grand champions, 2 or 3 reserve grand champions. I think he was team of the year, weren't you, in the Mid-Atlantic?
Yeah, absolutely. That guy right there, the backyard team of the year. We ended up 3rd in KCBS's inaugural backyard rib team of the year, and I think 9th in KCBS's inaugural chicken backyard team. So we were running with it, yeah.
So what was the big thing that you took out of the class that just did you see techniques and recipes from what you was doing to what Corey taught you?
Yeah, so Corey had they're simple recipes, but they are just they're so good. But more than that, it was the little techniques, and that's why I like to emphasize. I still watch those things over again today.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I tell people is Corey has a way of checking ribs that absolutely changed my game. Like I put probes in ribs just so I know, but the last half an hour they're out, and it's all just a feel thing. And he checked ribs a way that I'd never seen anybody do it.
Yeah.
And it's a way that most people don't do it. And when you really think about it, there's just so much more sense of doneness you can get doing it that way. And that changed my rib game entirely. I never expected to be, like I said, 3rd overall in ribs that year. And then last year, before we started cooling down for the birth of my son, I was number 1 in KCBS for several weeks in ribs. So, I mean, that rib game, we won it last October. We haven't won the rib category since then in 5 contests, but we're consistent.
You're in the pro division too, though, right? I mean,
yeah.
you went from backyard to the pros, so.
But that's still my crutch category. Like I can count on that to be top 10 usually. I can tell you as soon as they hit the box if I messed them up or not, or if we're in the hunt. And that just came from seeing how Corey was checking. I figured out what that felt like, and I can tell you when they hit the board if we're in the hunt or not.
Wow, that is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's another thing that you can put on your board that you can count on, and that is freaking brisket, dude. I mean, 4 first place briskets. 2 of them was 180, perfect 180s, weren't it?
Yes, sir.
Jeez. Now that's not bad. I mean, we're talking about 7 competitions. That's over 50%, dude. That is on the pro division. That's crushing it.
Yeah, that's what well, and the fun part is I know several teams, like I think 4 or 5 now in my area. Of course, the Mid-Atlantic spans the whole board, but in my area that have taken that class, maybe a couple of them have won as soon as they took it. Several of them have been top 3. So that recipe just works. But what I tell people is there was some luck with that brisket in that day 2 at that Galax contest. I just happened to hit perfect tenderness, and I remembered what it felt like. And then everything else, Corey's recipe is easy recipe. It just works. As long as you know when to pull it, as long as you find that, the recipe just works. Like it's set and forget. I always tell people after for the first like hour or so cooking brisket, because if nothing else is happening, I'm just focused on that brisket. After we get to that point, I feel like the cook's done. It's just wait for it to be right and then pull it out.
Yeah. That's funny. So I just got a text from Corey. I said, hey, did you see that Steve was going to be on the show tonight? He said, I saw that. That is awesome. I need him to hurry up and film a class so I can get some pointers.
Oh, geez.
That came from Corey Mike. So he is very, very proud of you. And, you know, we all, I'll tell you, that's the one thing that I can tell you with our guys that we've got on BBQ Champ. They love these success stories, right? And you have sold a lot of brisket classes. And I think some of these guys that bought just the briskets, I think they're actually buying some of these other ones now because you're not doing good in just one meat. You're doing good in a lot of meat. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, there was several guys last month that bought Corey's brisket recipe. I will tell you that. So,
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't realize that the ribs are almost as consistent. They just haven't won quite as much.
Yeah, you know, and it was funny, and I'm going to pull this up real quick, see if I can find it. But I noticed on our post about you, there was somebody that actually posted in there, and I can't remember his name. Let's go back here and see if I can find the comment. Since he made it public, Henry Jones posted, I ran this brisket program this weekend for the first time, got third place both days. Thanks, Steve Dotson, for telling me about this video. So...
Yep, Henry was right next to me at the contest. He goes, I'm going to tell you what. He goes, I bought Corey's brisket classes. Oh, man, really? He goes, you can't do what you did and tell me that and not expect me to get that class. It's like, well.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate it. You know, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, they still got to cook it. They still got to execute it. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you the one thing I think that helps people, and they don't realize it. You go take all the in-person classes you want. You are never going to come out of that in-person class with remembering every single thing to be able to 100% replicate it. The one thing I can tell you with BBQ Champs, I don't know, I pulled up your account. I think you've probably watched Corey Mike's brisket class, I don't know, probably 98 times. And that's probably conservative. Same thing with ribs, probably the same. I mean, that's the great thing. You probably, if you like me, like my favorite movie all time, Top Gun. I cannot believe it's finally coming out. I pretty much will anywhere in that whole movie. You ask me, what are they fixing to say? And I can tell you the next line. I've seen it so many times. I would imagine that you could probably just sit here and watch Corey's class and you could just tell Corey, just sit down and I'm going to just run your class. If you want to know Corey, he's probably just going to watch your class and just run through it. So, but you hear it so many times. The steak cookers they always talk about muscle memory, remembering, doing everything, getting it down. And I think the one thing that you have the advantage of watching the videos on BBQ Champs is you can go back and you can watch it, I think you told me, I know we had another guy that had, Rick Manzi. He's a steak competition guy. He does some barbecue competition stuff. And he sent me a text one time and he said, I want you to know I've watched Corey's video 4 times. And on the 4th time, I just now saw something, a really cool technique that he did that I didn't see the first 3 times. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, you know, and he was like, man, he said, this is just unbelievable. So I think of that and I've heard it from you. I've heard it from several others. Then how are you supposed to remember that going to an in-person class where you're in awe, you've got this guy in front of you, you're trying to take notes, everybody's asking questions. How much are you really retaining, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you check it, pretty much every Thursday or Friday night when I'm mixing up injections, I just rewatch the video. I remember the recipe. I just turn it on to make sure, though, because I can.
Yeah, because you can.
Keeps me from slipping. Yeah.
That's right. That's 100% correct. So, well, I tell you what, man, you've absolutely been crushing it, and we're very, very, very proud of you. And I know Corey, he just kudos. He's like, man, it's so awesome to see, you know, a young up and coming cook that went through the ranks of the backyard division. Huge success story there. Now you roll over into the pro division, and man, I don't know. You're a force to be reckoned with, you know. So
you know what's funny is not that I ever doubted, you know, we could do this, but we were in the backyard and we were national contenders. There were a few pockets of backyard across the country that it gets serious, and we played in those groups, and that was awesome. And when we went to pro, I was a little bit relieved because basically every backyard comp we went to, it's like we're expecting the grand because we know we're capable of it. Walking into that first pro, you know, Lee was there, Ruders and Tutors was there, Fred Vegas was there, Old Virginia Smoke was there. Like I said, teams that were literally just at the jack.
Right.
And I was just like, well, it's kind of nice to not have the pressure because if I just get my name called, I'm thrilled. And then we ended up, walking 3 times, 6 overall. I was like, oh, geez. And then the next day, we won a category. And the next day, we win brisket. And 3rd overall, I was like, guess we're back to butterflies at awards now.
Yeah. That's funny. That's cool. That's a good story. I mean, it probably had to make you feel pretty good to just kind of, okay, I didn't get in here and just completely bomb, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
The one thing you don't want to do is just get in there and bomb. Please just let me get one top 10 call. Let me get one top 10 call. You get 3 day 1, you're probably on cloud 9, and then day 2 you get 4, and now like, oh crap, man, this is pretty awesome. So
well, and so that was surreal, and it was a small comp, and I was like, well, everybody was just tired. Maybe I just got lucky. Right. So you fast forward to April of this year. There's a big one on the East Coast called BBQ Gives Back. It was the double we started out with, and day 1 I think there's 55 teams. And we had what felt like an okay cook, but I was sitting there going, the who's who of the East Coast is here. I'm probably not going to hear my name called, and I was okay with that. I was like, I think I didn't execute quite right. So we're there, and they're calling through chicken, ribs, pork, nothing. They're calling down on brisket, and at this point, I'm like, well, I probably got some barbecue karma, a little luck to pull me in last year. No way. So they're calling down, and there's Wolf's Revenge is there, who was the number 2 brisket team of the year last year, and Rooters and Tooters is there, and we're the brisket team of the year in 2020.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to my buddy, and they go with a perfect 180, and we're like, it's got to be Rooters and Tooters. And they call my name, and I was just like, oh my god, oh my god. Wow. So we walk there, get it, and then we ended up. The other categories were consistent; they just weren't top 10. So we ended up with a 6th place that day in a 55 team field. I was just like, this is just silly.
That's crazy, man. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then this past weekend, what was your overall score? Were you over 700?
It was a 709.
A 709. Holy cow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was, and it wasn't so we won brisket. Well, so it was a double. Day 1, again, I didn't really have a great cook, and I knew that going into it. We walked. We ended up 5th overall day 1, but
it's pretty respectable.
Yeah. But you just knew it wasn't where it needed, because we came off a game last month. You and I were going to come on last month, but right. Mark had to go and win shoulders.
Yep.
So maybe it was a little rust, maybe it was just me not paying attention. But so Saturday I buckled down, paid way more attention. I knew the cook was better, and I kind of knew if chicken went in top 5, we were going to be in the hunt. And sure enough, chicken gets called for 5th. We called for a 3rd place rib, 3rd place pork that we lost a tiebreaker to, and a 1st place brisket. And I was like, well, that's great.
Wow.
But I would have never thought we were going to post a 709. But
that's crazy.
The fun story is after that, I go to the rep to get my score sheet, and it's a buddy of mine. It's Bob McKee's the rep up there. And he goes, yeah, when they came over and told me DQ'd granted, I was like, what? And I said, well, thanks, Bob. Appreciate the confidence. But he goes, no. He goes, you just look where you were at. It didn't make sense. 5th, a 3rd, a 3rd, and a 1st. He's like, but it was just your level of consistency all the way through it. And that's kind of funny, because that's actually benefited me coming to the pros. Because in backyard, if you've got 1 category out of 2 that's not perfect, you kind of sunk yourself if somebody else had luck on this other day. But if we got 4 categories,
right,
at this point, I'm going to bet on myself to be pretty consistent across them.
Right. Do you think consistency is one of the things that you have to work on for competition barbecue, being consistent to turn in the product, the same good product time and time again?
I think it's king. Like, it's paramount. I've done it a lot through cooking. And the weird thing is, I saw Sean posted, I do it on char grillers from
basically you can get it at Lowe's.
Yeah, literally, if my cookers break, I can just go to Lowe's and buy new ones.
That's crazy.
But the thing about that is because of the YouTube channel, I've cooked a lot on those. Not usually competition meats, but I know how those cookers run, and I know where the hot spots are, and I know exactly how they'll react. So
wow,
that's just I know what it's going to do, and I can trust it.
That is unbelievable. So you cook on a grill that you can go to Lowe's and go buy from Lowe's.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
I thought it would make a cool video if we're nothing's set in stone yet, but we're invited to the Royal now. I thought it would be a cool idea to just go out there and just buy them out there and then give them away after the contest because they're hardware store smokers.
that is unreal. Wow, goes to show, it's not you. I've seen guys. It was funny years ago. Adam Gotro, good friend of mine. He's in South Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy. I mean, it was funny. We made a joke about it. I guess it was probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He was the guy who just would crush it. And I said, I could probably give you a garbage can and you'd kick all of our butt. And of course, now everybody's cooking on trash cans, right?
Yep,
So this
yep.
was well before the trash can, before the drum movement. And, I just told him, I said, I guess I could probably go buy a garbage can at Walmart and throw up here and you'd kick all of our butt. He just started laughing. But, I mean, that was just it. I mean, just the consistency, and that's the thing. So, yeah, now we got people saying Mr. 700. Now Tony's over here. No, Toby said no, Mr. 709.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So my buddies know that I'm extremely superstitious, and like I don't like to talk about it. Denny, Mr. 700 guy there, he goes, so we're going to talk about it tonight, huh? So yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight, but after that, we're not going to talk about it.
Who was this that's saying that? Denny?
Denny, yeah.
All right, Denny, we need to go ahead and talk about it. So we'll talk about his 700 score because I think he's really superstitious about talking about it. So that's pretty deadgum funny. Let's see what else we got here. I think his score in Ripley, Virginia was higher than 709. We talked about crushing it. So
so Ripley was a 703. So
703.
We've got 3 700s this year out of the 5 we've done. My goal for every comp is to try to beat your PR. It's like golf, right?
Right.
So,
exactly.
So in Galax day 1, we posted like a 685, and I was thrilled. And then day 2, we posted like a 687, and like I said, we were right behind Lee. Then day 1 at Barbecue's back, we posted a 695, and I was over the moon. And then day 2, we posted a 700 point something. I was like, oh my god, we broke 700. I got my first pin and sticker, and then Ripley was 703, and like I said, Saturday of this last weekend, we had a bad day, but then we gathered ourselves back up, posted 709. I don't know that I can top that one anytime soon.
Right,
not without the perfect tables and judges.
Yeah, that's a hard score to beat there. So yeah, Merv, he cooks on a char griller that he bought from Lowe's. So you don't have to have a $10,000 Jambo to cook good barbecue. So. Let's see, left out not talking about it. Yeah, Denny's not talking about it. So that's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. Man alive.
Yeah, no, I just I look at it like golf. I love to look at a team list just because if it's a measuring stick at the end of the day, but while it's all going on, like it's you and the course basically, let's see what we can do. But yeah, this weekend, we had Rooters and Tooters was there again this weekend. Urkel from Uncle Pigs, who's probably the hottest team on the East Coast, maybe one of the hottest teams in KCBS right now, was there. Chunky Bar, like a lot of Sid, I saw in the comments, he was there. He just won brisket down at Pusacue. So it's always fun here because even if it's a small comp, you've usually got some measuring sticks to really put yourself up against.
Wow, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. There was something I was going to ask you. Let's see. Don't talk about Steve. No. So, okay. Here's a good question. What wood do you use, or do you use charcoal? What's your? I see you got a B&B hat. So
yes, sir. So the cookers I'm cooking on, we're talking about is the Char Griller Gravity 980. So it's one of the little. Well, I cook on 2 of them, but it's the little backyard model gravity smoker. So I definitely use charcoal, and my preferred charcoal is B&B the Hickory. Blend. I just like it. And then for wood, I primarily use hickory. Again, and I'm not using artisan hickory. I did back in the day, but then one day I'd already loved B&B charcoal, and I was out one day and I said, you know what, I'm just going to buy a bag of B&B hickory chunks, and I throw just one chunk of cherry in on both of them whenever I start them up.
Right.
I honestly. Probably not a common held belief. I think cherry smoke is about the strongest smoke you can get from the stuff we use in competition. So I just throw one on because it'll darken stuff up real quick. So when I got that brisket on and when those pork butts first go on and the ribs go on right after them, just helps put that color on in the beginning. But after that, I think hickory's milder than people give it credit for in the right application, but still like a super sweet smelling smoke. I really dig it. And it's working for me this year. So
Yeah,
it worked for me in
absolutely.
2020 and 2021. So
Yeah, I'm a hickory person as well. I love hickory.
hmm
Hickory, and sometimes I'll mix a little pecan with it, but that's
yeah.
two or three pieces of hickory, maybe a piece of pecan.
Yep.
So just to kind of blend it up a little bit, it seems to be really good. I love the flavor of hickory. So we
hmm
don't do a lot of cherry. I haven't done it. I'm sure there's some folks down here that do. So is the wood dry? Does the bark make bitter smoke? No, the B&B stuff is dried, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's kiln
kiln dried.
dried.
Yeah,
I think it might have to be kiln dried so they can ship it across state lines with
yeah,
different
yeah.
bugs and stuff. But yeah, well, in those gravities, the way they work, your coals from your gravity chute fall down onto the wood. So honestly, like I said, I've ordered wood from like it was ARP, and that's great stuff, but it's wet, and I'm not getting a whole lot of embers falling down. So that kiln dried wood actually helps me out and get that
Right,
smoke rolling.
right.
I literally back when I was first learning these gravities, I'd run that wet wood and or not wet but green, and
Green.
I
Yeah,
get done with a cook and it just have like a black spot on it. Wouldn't even burn through. So
right.
yeah, that kiln dried B&B works great for me. It still puts out the same smell. Um, yeah, I mean, proof's in the pudding to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think you've got a whole bunch of first place plaques over there in brisket and a couple of GCs. So
Yes.
that's pretty dead gum good. And I told Steve that I was like, hey, I'm going to the American. If I go to the American Royal, if you want to come, I may have a spot because it'd be pretty cool. So anyway, oh goodness gracious alive, man. Let's see what he did. I did some chops with some apple with bark on. They were incredible. Yeah, apple's a good wood too. It's very mild on pork, especially.
Mhm.
So, oh man, alive! I tell you what, you've had a great run. We're really proud of you. Everything that you've done, no question. Anybody got any questions for Steve that you feel like he may want to answer? Because he may not give you everything. So, but if you got a question, this is what we're here for, and I've learned a little bit about a gravity smoker. That's the Char Griller model. What 980? Did I get
980.
it
Yep.
right? 980. How
Yes,
much is
sir.
that grill, by the way?
So it's $750 now. When they first came out, you get them for $600. I was just like, that's a steal. But
Wow.
now that's what when I first started in barbecue. The second contest I ever got to go to was the Jack Daniel's Shade Tree, which was the backyard. But it was, if you looked at the tech and the hardware, it was the same stuff the pros were running. And I always enjoyed, and this is a little bit petty, I guess, but I always enjoyed being able to beat people with expensive smokers, with inexpensive smokers. Back then it
Yeah.
was Weber Smoky Mountains. Now it's
Right.
Gravity 980s. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say necessarily it's. I just reinforces that it's the pitmaster and not necessarily the cooker that's going to be able to get it done for you.
Yeah.
I want those expensive smokers, but I just
Yeah.
honestly I was going to go back to the cube that we built. I don't know if you remember that, Mike, but I
Yeah.
built that big old garbage can looking one. It's just hard to move around, and we happened to hit with the gravities right off the bat, so I can't put them away right now.
No, you keep cooking on them. You
Actually,
keep.
this weekend we did on one brand new one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I've got a video coming up where I'm going to turn one onto a competition cart, just homemade sort of. That's what we do over the channels,
Right.
sort of DIY or how to make your backyard stuff a little bit better.
Right.
So I needed the brand new one. Well, I got it a little bit late, so I literally put it together on Wednesday, burned it in on Thursday. Friday we took it to the contest, and
Boom.
Sunday we GC'd with it.
Heck yeah. That's pretty deadgum awesome. Jeffrey wants to know how your boy is.
He's doing great. Yeah, he's a happy little baby. He's about 7 months old now. He's had one surgery already. We spent some time in the hospital back in February, but he came through it great, and I appreciate you asking, Jeff.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. So, as a pro, what is your tip for any new and upcoming team?
Well, first, go to BBQ Champs Academy.
Thank
Find
you.
a guy with a class that matches your smoker and take it. After that, be comfortable with your smoker is the biggest thing, and be confident in your process. Like, I still to this day, I'll look over and see somebody putting on ribs an hour before me or something. And I sit there and wonder, like, it'll go through my head. Am I doing something wrong here? Do they know something about the elevation, the barometric pressure? But like, just run your race, man. You got to plan your work and work your plan.
100%. 100%. All right. Let's see. Toby says, I can build you one.
Well, Toby, the master fabricator of West Virginia right there.
You ain't kidding. So, All right, let's see. When will Benny McMurray make her
Yeah,
return?
Bonnie McMurray. That's the big can
Oh,
I have
Bonnie.
that we built.
Bonnie.
Yeah. No, she, when I guess when the gravity stop hitting, because I can't put them away until they do.
No. And
Now we're gonna do some YouTube content with that one, but now, as far as competitions go, those gravities aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
no. No. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, I doubt they're just going to go away, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think once you get a good cook, it puts out good food. You know, I wonder if drums are I've heard a few people say they think the offsets are now catching back up with the drums and stuff. But there's a little shift. Gravity is just one of them deals. I think it's going to be it's a good cooker. So
Well, that's kind of the fun thing, and you're sort of in the same boat, Mike. With I'm running those nobody I know on the pro circuit is running these
yeah,
gravities. Not a whole lot of
yeah,
people are running gravities anymore, and you're running
right.
that rotisserie that
I'm running
pretty much
rotisserie.
nobody's running that I know of. So it's
No,
it's kind of fun when you win with something that's not the norm, or at least it is to
yeah,
me. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I love my rotisserie. Absolutely love it. And I'm the only one that ever cooks on a rotisserie. So anyway, I think it's my ace in the hole. I love it. So, all right, Tracy, what other than the 4 KCBS meat, what is your favorite thing to smoke?
Oh, that's
Good
a great
question.
question.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite cut that's not ribs, because ribs are my favorite cut, but outside of those, it's pork belly, and
Hmm.
partially because you can do so much with it. So, I've if you just smoke a pork belly till it's pulled apart, you'll lose about half of it to fat, but it'll be the most luscious pulled pork you've ever had.
Right.
Then you can do pork belly burn-ins with it. That's been
Yep.
super popular over the last few years. I've actually got a video over on the channel where I smoked the pork belly for a while. Then until you get the fat render, I cut it into slices like they do kind of at restaurants.
Right.
Then I grilled those slices, put them on sliders, and made sliders. It was a Super Bowl recipe like back in 2018 or something. But there's just so much you can do with the pork belly, and you've got so much fat that it's always, as long as you start it rendered, what you're doing on a cooker.
Right.
It's gonna come out just delicious no matter how you do it.
Absolutely. Pork belly is so good. So meat candy 101.
Yes, sir.
I don't cook enough of it. I should. I love it. It's so good. So, let's see what we got here. Steve, Rich may want some tips. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rich is my boss, and Lee and Rich are on a team. So it was cool back when I was never worried about it when I was in the backyard because they were in the pro. So I was never competing directly with the boss man, but now we are. So that's just a little careful about that.
That's funny. That's funny. Let's see what else we got. Stay train like you fight like you train. That's how we roll in the military, and it works in barbecue as well. Amen, brother. There ain't no doubt. So, and take good notes. That's the thing. I've got every competition that I've ever done since day one, going back to 2013, and I keep a note file of all my competitions, everything I've done. I've cooked 113 competitions, so I just keep something that has all my competitions in my note file.
Yep.
And I can go back and look at where I cooked, how many teams. I think I tell people all the time, man, take good notes. I can go back 6 years from now and tell you, I was at this competition, this is what I cooked, here was my recipe, here was my injections, here was my sauces, everything. And I think that a lot of times that it gets people in trouble. They just, haphazardly throw stuff around, and then they wonder why they don't have consistency. And I think taking good notes is one of the best things that you can do.
Oh yeah. Now I've got a color-coded spreadsheet for all my comps today, but back in 2020 when I was figuring out those ribs, I don't take the best notes, but I run everything through a fireboard, which will automatically log your cook and what. So I can remember back then, it's like I'd cook some ribs, they'd come out great. Cook some other ones, they didn't come out as great. I'd go back and look at the graphs, and I could tell you when I opened the smoker based on the graphs. So yeah,
that's pretty neat. What is it a fire system management? Which one have you got?
So that's the fireboard.
Fireboard. Okay.
Yeah, the fireboard 2. They just came out with that in like 2020. So I got one of those, and then now I've got the little Spark, which is their instant read, but it'll also hook into that as well. So that's my little brisket thermometer, both leave in and.
How big is the fan on that? What's their biggest fan they have?
It's 20 something. It's
25?
as big as the pit bull from Guru.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good sized fan. It's beefy.
Okay. Does it monitor does it keep the temperature pretty close or does it move like 5 or 10 degrees?
So yeah, so I not to get brand myopic here, but I like it better than the Guru stuff because it will vary the speed on the fan to keep it tighter.
Okay.
I think it keeps it closer than a Guru does.
Okay. See, I use a stoker, well, old school
Okay. Yep.
stoker.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that thing, it don't move a degree. I mean, it is just, it stays there. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, if that temperature drops a degree, that fan comes on and turns right off.
Yeah.
And I found out they went out of business. I about freaked out because I only had my one unit. I got on the Barbecue Brethren. I was like, anybody got any stokers? I'm buying them. And I bought like either 2 or 3 of the bodies, which I've never had one go bad. I was able to pick up one 25 CFM fan,
Mm-hmm.
which I'd like to have another one. I couldn't find nobody that had 25 CFM fans. I got a ton of probes. They're too long, but I'm sure we can cut them and shorten them. But yeah, I love my stoker. And the
Yeah.
only thing I don't like about it is when you open up the door, the temperature or the alarm goes off. I mean, every time you have to reach over there and hit the button to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they had something in there that when you open it up and it had a sudden drop, it wouldn't go off and it would shut the fan off for like 2 minutes, let the temperature come back up, and then turn the fan on so it doesn't overshoot.
So the fireboards do that, and they're actually configurable for how long it stays off when it senses the door open.
drop.
The big thing that I liked about the fireboard for the temperature manager, like I still use it today because it has 6 probe ports. So you know I could monitor ribs and pork butts on the same smoker. But the big thing I liked about it for when I ran the D Cube, the Bonnie McMurray, was it didn't require AC power to run the fan.
Okay.
Now it'll only run the fan at like 75% if you're not plugged in. But if you got a big cooker and it's already hot, that's all you need to keep it rolling. That's all I needed to keep it rolling. So
Right.
it's yeah. If you ever run out of your stoker, check out those fireboards. They do a lot.
I'm looking at it right now. What are you talking about, man? So heck yeah, I need to go get me a char griller and I need to get me a fireboard. So that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I tell you what, Steve, it's been great having you on tonight. What time we got? About 7:47. So you've absolutely been crushing it, no doubt. And we're very proud of you. I know Corey is. He says congratulations. You know, he's sorry he couldn't make it on the show tonight. I was going to try to get him on the show with us. I thought that would have been pretty cool, but he's got kid duty. So with his new baby. And I got one thing here. Let's see on the list of what Steve has smoked. Yeah. Apple pie, love apple pie. Pumpkin pie burn-ins sounds very interesting, and the infamous pepperoni roll.
Oh yeah, no, on the YouTube channel we get a little interesting sometimes. I'm not the most creative person, but every once in a while someone will strike me. I swear I thought those pumpkin pie burn-ins would kill it during fall like 2 years ago. They did not, but man, they are delicious.
Wow. Have you taken any other classes other than Corey's?
So I have taken. I think we have a mutual friend in Luke Darnell. Yep. He's just over in Virginia. He's from West Virginia, so he's probably my biggest barbecue mentor, and I've taken his class earlier this year. So, and honestly, after taking his and Corey's, I don't really know that I'm too interested in taking any more classes at this point because what I've got works, and I don't really want to muddle it too much.
Right, exactly right.
They're both luckily pretty simple recipes. They both cook on Jambos, and I've already figured out how to adapt a Jambo to how I cook. But yeah, I'm all about learning and everything. But man, I could definitely see where you can get yourself into trouble if you took too many classes.
Yeah. Our steak cookers, that guy right there has bought a few of them. So, and it's the techniques. I think that's more than anything. What I hear the guys, I've got guys that have taken almost every steak class that we got are the steak cookers. I've got the barbecue guys that usually take 3 or 4 classes. Yeah. And they're really looking at the techniques, especially in barbecue. And, you know, this technique, you got 3 of them the same. But this one did something different than this one. And, man, that really is nice. And I think that's what it really helps. Corey he's a real technical cooker. Mm-hmm. I would say Lee Hickle's a very technical cooker. And you can just see it, in their trim. You can see without
Yeah.
giving the farm away. I mean, it's just they're technical cookers, and you can
Right.
tell they are. And I think that's the thing is when you can take a technique that a cooker does, and then you have another cooker that does a technique that doesn't go against what you've got. Now you've added another technique that he doesn't have.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess it's more like instead of being leery of that, I guess just realize that you're going to get little things after that first
Mm-hmm.
one that you find that meshes with your style. It's going to be the little things that
The
sort of
little
help you
things.
round out who you are. I guess
That's it. Yeah,
that
that's
makes
the biggest
sense.
thing. That's the biggest thing is the techniques, and yeah, you can, because I think you can get in trouble, with a lot of recipes and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
start trying too many things. People ask me, well, you got all these guys stuff, you ought to freaking be grand champion. I was like, man, if you knew it, I don't ever watch. I did not. I talked to Corey and we was talking about doing the update on his class. I hadn't watched Corey's videos since the day I edited them. And it's the same thing with all the guys. I get them. They come in after we film them. My studio sends them to me. I go through, put all the little cool pop-ups and stuff in them. I don't ever go back and watch them. That's it. I just, and I wasn't. The whole thing is so much stuff that they do. Like, I don't want to get lost,
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't want to give up the recipes that I did, because I was crushing it before I ever did BBQ Champs, right?
Hmm.
And I think sometimes I like to go down my road. Yeah, I've seen some of the things that they've done. I've got techniques that I do that I've seen some things that they haven't even done. So I think everybody kind of has their own little techniques, and I'm always trying different things, right? That's
Right.
kind of what I like to do. So, but I think definitely it definitely helps,
Oh,
just kind of
for sure.
keeping techniques, keeping your good notes, keeping recipes. I think all that stuff really gets you where you need to be. So
Yeah.
let's see what we got here. What have you had the most success with in Chef's Choice entry?
Oh, good. I don't think I've actually entered a chef's choice.
Okay.
We don't. Yeah, we don't. When we do ancillaries around here, it's usually wings or turkey is real popular right now with everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's around here at least. That's more served in the state cooker circles of all the craziness.
Right. Well, I tell you what. You got any final words, brother? Now's the time to get them out.
Man, if anybody has any questions about my experience with BBQ Champs, shoot me a message over on Facebook. It's Cookout Coach and DQ'd Barbecue over there. If you try to shoot me a message through like the comments in my videos on YouTube, there's a lot of them. It's hard to see, but like if you've got any questions about it, I'm pretty straight up with everybody. I say I'm pretty sure, definitely straight up with everybody about it. I don't give away any secrets, but I'll gladly tell you what my experiences were, and you don't even have to really ask me. You can just go look at the KCBS website and see what my experiences were if you want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I tell you what, we're super proud of you. Corey is as well. I really do appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. It's so great to hear the success stories. That was the whole reason, my whole envision, and we're almost 3 years old. We launched on June the 28th in 2019 on a Friday night at 7 o'clock. Is when I turned everything loose, and man, did it go crazy across Facebook and everything else. It was really awesome. It was to see the sport grow. We get more and more people now giving us shout outs, and it's really cool to see the stories and the success. I was struggling and I've done good now, and I'm grand champion, and I've kind of tweaked and made some things my own, and that's what we wanted. My whole envision was I wanted to grow barbecue. I wanted to grow the state competitions, and seeing success stories like you, and gosh, we've got so many other ones. Yours has just been one of the ones at the top because we've watched you come from backyard all the way to the pro division. Heck, I guess the next thing they'll be seeing you at the American Royal with that big crown on your head. So
we don't talk about that till
yeah, we'll talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
We won't talk about it. So, oh goodness gracious! Let's see. If you don't like Steve, it's definitely a you problem. Yeah, I would have to think that. Juke, thank you for coming on here, man. You're catching us a little late, but hey, we appreciate you at least catching it. You can always go back and watch it. Well, Steve, once again, man, huge congratulations. We're really proud of you. Keep us in the loop, man. Keep posting. It's always great to see your stuff. Hey, if you've taken our classes and you give us a shout out, man, we'll take it and splash it and give you some notoriety on BBQ Champs. Gosh, we got a lot of folks checking us out over there. So, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good luck for the rest of your season. And if you can't make it on to the American Royal on your own, and you at least want to go, let me know. I might need some help because I don't know if I'm gonna have anybody to help me this year. So
Will do.
I might need to have somebody show me how to cook all this KCBS stuff. So anyway, well, I appreciate it. I hope everybody's had a great evening. Once again, keep all those down in Uvalde, Texas, and our thoughts and prayers. Prayers certainly go out to all of them. And go out there, hug your wife, hug your kids, tell them you love them, and as we always say when we end these classes, y'all go out there, have a lot of fun, and by all means, smoke on.